You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And this is the Week 5 pick show. Now, I've checked. None of these games are in London. Or in any bizarre neutral sites. So...
Well, this week's pick show is brought to you by Mike Smith, who, if you go to our website, we've got a GIF of him picking his nose and pulling out a booger.
All right.
So in honor of Mike Smith, we present the picks. It's a gross clip, man. It's hilarious. How anybody even picked that up watching the game on TV, I have no idea. But yeah, you can clearly see him pulling something out.
Okay.
So check that out if you haven't.
On that note, we had a long podcast last night, so what do you say about getting right to the games?
All right.
Okay. The Thursday nighter. Minnesota is +9 at Green Bay.
Oh, I love this game. No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not betting another Thursday night game.
No,
Fuck that.
We're going back to that. Who knows on Thursday night? I'd probably take the points if I knew Bridgewater was going to be healthy, but I think on this one I'm just going to stick with the home team. A Green Bay team that looks like it's getting together.
Yeah, Green Bay. Enough said on that game. Bridgewater looked okay against Atlanta, but a gimpy ankle for a running quarterback.
Yeah.
Even if he does play, it's not a recipe for success. And 9's a lot, considering Green Bay put up a whopping 7 against the Lions, but the short week favors the home team, so yeah, Green Bay.
I don't hate the Vikings, and usually I'd jump on their 9 points, but not if Christian Ponder's the quarterback. Okay, next game up, we have Atlanta +4 at the Giants.
Don't like this one either.
It intrigues me a little. All you had to say was that, and I'll back off on it.
No, but not even... What are these teams? Atlanta's awful on the road.
Atlanta's awful on defense.
Is awful.
Yeah. I'm less concerned about the road, and, are we the 0-2 Giants or the 2-0 Giants that just beat the holy shit out of teams?
Well, that's what we're...
Yeah.
We were talking about it last night. What teams are good? And these two teams fall right in that pocket that the NFL wants. Yep. 500, don't know what the fuck they are. Are they good? They have talent littered throughout the team. Not great talent, but they're fairly talented. And I think Atlanta has more talent offensively.
Yeah, though they did put
Giants.
Another couple of O-linemen on IR this week.
Oh, so, yeah. Are they going to run into that problem again?
It
with the
certainly
injuries
looks
to their
that way.
lines, and maybe that was part of. I didn't watch any of the game against the Vikings, but maybe that was part of the problem. If guys got hurt,
it certainly didn't help, but it was more their defense is completely inept. So I really hate laying points on this Giants team, but I'm going to do it.
I'm taking the Giants, yeah. And we'll get burned, I'm sure.
Yeah, who knows? As soon as you put your faith in Eli, he will prove that you are just a foolish human being.
Well, that division is wide open, too, in the East. The Giants win this game, they're right back in it.
They are right back in it, but shockingly, our legacy bet, as you called it, on the Cowboys, looks like it's got a little more life than I thought it would.
Yeah, it's got some legs. Watch, this will be the year we win with them.
Yeah.
When we did it as a joke. But yeah, I want to stay away from this game.
Yeah, me too. It fits. They're not quite shitty teams, but they're shitty on at least half their appearances. So yeah, stay away from it. Next game up, we have Baltimore +3 at Indy. Now this game I like.
See,
on the
I
Baltimore
don't.
side. You don't like it?
Yeah, I don't know. Too many variables. The way Andrew Luck's played the last the whole year.
But Indy's defense is terrible. I hear what you're saying about Luck, but quietly
Baltimore's offense
Flacco's
is terrible.
playing. No, they haven't been. They've put up over 30 points 3 out of the 4 games.
Yeah, but are you going to get tip touchdown pass? Like you said yourself last night, that 2 of their touchdowns were fluke.
It's true, but sometimes you ride with that. I don't know. I don't want to walk away from this yet. The Colts' defense is terrible.
Yeah, but their offense is outstanding. Like, they looked like Peyton Manning Colts offense.
Against really weak opposition.
No, but they put up 24 against Denver in the second half. And almost pulled that game out. Put up 40 in Jacksonville. Put up 40 last week. Luck's leading the league in touchdown passes. Baltimore hasn't beat anybody of any substance yet. Offensively.
Who have they beaten? Cleveland, Carolina, and
they lost to Cincinnati week 1. Yeah,
Pittsburgh has an offense. But point taken. Like, mostly your point's correct there. Oh, all right. It's a slim week, I guess, even though only 2 teams are on byes. But I'm definitely taking Baltimore in this.
I'm taking Indy.
Okay. Next up, we have Buffalo +7 at Detroit.
This doesn't intrigue me at all. Well, Detroit, this isn't actually a bad game at 7. When you're starting Kyle Orton at quarterback and not that he can be any worse than EJ Manuel, but you're changing quarterbacks week 4 already with Kyle Orton?
And, well, there are questions about the coaching, too. I mean, why on earth did EJ Manuel throw the ball 44 times in that Houston game when they were leading most of the game? That said, yes, Detroit had a good game, more or less without Calvin Johnson. I guess he was out running decoy routes most of the time, like 2/3, 3/4 of the time. But his ankle is hurt. And in the past, that has guaranteed a Detroit loss. If Stafford doesn't have CJ to throw to, it looks bad.
But in a game like this with Stafford versus Kyle Orton, I'm taking Detroit all day in this game. On the road, I would be hesitant. At home, they're a different team. They're like New Orleans.
Those are
I don't trust them on the road, but at home, they're a different team.
It's just,
and
I like
Johnson's
Detroit
at
a lot this
75%.
year. I do like Detroit a fair bit this year, but I don't know that they should be laying 7. And I still like Buffalo's defense.
No, Kyle Orton, I wouldn't take the 7 with Kyle Orton at quarterback. Detroit's run defense is fairly solid.
Actually, they've been outstanding.
Yeah, and that's how Buffalo has to beat you. They have one wide receiver in Watkins. He's not going to beat you by himself with Kyle Orton throwing the ball. There's no way I couldn't take Buffalo in this game.
Well, I think I'm going to. I don't like 7 this year. But I'll put you down for Detroit. You make valid points, though. And I don't think for 1 nanosecond either of us considered betting that game. So
No, but looking at it the second or third time today, it doesn't seem that bad. If I was sitting in Vegas at a sports book, I'd throw $50 at this game. This isn't a bad game. Buffalo, we're looking at who they beat. The Bears aren't that good. The Patriots, or no, they haven't played the Patriots yet. Who'd they beat? Miami's not that good. Everybody's in the same quagmire of shit. 2-2.
Yep.
Like Houston 3-1.
Well, that's why
and I don't consider them to have beaten anybody yet.
No, Houston at 3-1 is the real absurdity of the record so far. I agree with you on that. But Buffalo almost beat them on the road. I don't know. I don't like anybody laying 7. Well, that's an overstatement, but I don't know that I like Detroit laying 7, who almost let the fucking dog-ass Jets crawl back into that one.
Well, this is part of my reasoning. They held Green Bay to 7 points at home with Aaron Rodgers.
That's a solid point.
So if Kyle Orton wakes up in the morning and he's Aaron Rodgers, well, then I'd be hesitant about laying 7, but not with...
My other point is a
unlikely.
gimpy CJ. Let's see if Stafford is matured enough to actually react decently, use Golden Tate and Eric Ebron, and actually
Detroit
have a credible offense.
Well, Stafford threw for 300 against the Jets, which isn't a horrible defense on the road.
Actually, their pass defense is horrible. They're like near the bottom of the league in yards given up on pass. Now, part of that is colored by the fact that you just can't run against the Jets, period. And Buffalo's run defense is pretty damn good, too. I mean, Houston got 17 yards on 15 carries or 15 yards on 17 carries. Either way, that number's terrible. So you're going to be forcing Stafford to throw again. And if CJ is just running as a decoy, I don't think that's going to go very well for them.
No, but you can't. Okay, the Jets' run defense, you can't really say it's stout. Because it's the same thing Tennessee has. Our run defense looks good because our pass defense is so bad. Teams just throw. So if I know you're really weak in one area, why would I do anything else?
Yeah,
but Detroit's going to mop Buffalo.
Okay,
Orton's going to be good for a couple of picks. They're not going to be worried about him beating them. They'll gear up to stop Jackson and Spiller, and they will mop Buffalo.
Well, watching EJ, Orton's got to be a step up, or I guess he doesn't have to be, but
come on.
He doesn't have to be, but he certainly could be because Manuel is terrible. He's got no zip on his ball at all. Like,
did Orton not play in that Thanksgiving Day game last year for Dallas? Isn't that where he was the backup?
He was the backup in Dallas last year, but I don't recall that he played the Thanksgiving game. I mean, we could look that up, but in any case, I think I'm taking Buffalo in the points.
Okay, I will take Detroit.
Okay. Chicago +3 at Carolina.
Don't want to touch this game.
Really? Oh, man, we're going to have trouble finding a fucking game.
Well, what team leads you to Carolina's performance the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's why I want Chicago.
Oh, no. I can't see it. I didn't even give this game a thought.
Yeah, no, I like Chicago in the points in this, really, because Carolina, after surprising us in the first 2 weeks, got beat up by successive teams in Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And, you know, as you said, we're not certain that Baltimore is particularly good, but they manhandled Carolina. They have literally no running backs there. Chicago still has talent. Their defense is poor, but I don't see any offensive weapons for Carolina at all.
Well, they're getting one of the running backs back this week. Not Tolbert, not Williams. Who's the other one?
Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Well,
and I just don't trust Chicago's defense on the.
That's fair. How about we keep this one in the mix, though? I mean, we'll see if we bump into better ones, but I actually think getting Chicago, who actually has offensive talent, the front seven for Carolina is being pushed around by two teams. Chicago has, Forte, Jeffrey, and probably Marshall a little healthier. But they struggled
to beat the Jets on the road and got blown out by Green Bay.
Getting blown out by Green Bay is going to happen, and there's good Cutler and bad Butler, and that game got out of hand simply because Cutler went into a terrible mode. He's also capable of playing really well against a bad secondary, which I think Carolina has proven they have.
Well, the Steeler game, they got beat on the ground.
Well, they just got manhandled every which way.
See, this is the problem this year. You can't take anything from any one game and think that's the team you're going to see.
No, I don't think
from week to week.
I agree with you about the overreaction. I agree with you, and I don't think I'm overreacting to Carolina. But honestly, being blown out by Green Bay doesn't shock me. The Buffalo loss by Chicago worries me more. But, part of that Green Bay thing it was just a bad Cutler game.
Yeah, but
he's had a tendency to bounce back from those.
We've been saying that for 7 years.
Okay, well, humor me briefly, and we'll see if we come back to it or not.
No, we can keep it in the mix.
Think about it, because as you said, you didn't even consider it, but think about how terrible Carolina has looked.
Yeah, but Chicago hasn't looked any much better.
And who did Carolina beat? They beat Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, but Tampa Bay beat... Well, that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point on this whole year. Carolina destroys Tampa Bay and looks like the old Carolina from last year. And then then Carolina gets blown out by Pittsburgh, and Tampa beats Pittsburgh. There's no rhyme or reason to anything that's happening this year.
Yeah, but there are a few reasons why Tampa beat Pittsburgh. A lot of them had to do with 15 penalties.
I don't care. There's no way that game shouldn't have even been close. They'd been beaten. They got beat. It was 28-0 in the first quarter against Atlanta. Do we think Atlanta's a jug or not? No,
but don't forget, I'm the guy who took Tampa Bay here, so it was perhaps less shocking to me than you.
Come on. You based it on that stat you read.
I based it on that. Plus, I based it on the 8 points. No, I'm not trying to lord this. I'm just saying that I don't think Pittsburgh's good, but I really don't think Carolina's good.
I don't think Chicago's good. They've shown nothing. Who'd they beat? San Francisco on 3 turns. They had 7 points going into the fourth quarter against San Francisco, and Kaepernick fucked them. None of that was on their own doing, that San Francisco win. They hung on against the Jets, had like a couple of 100 yards of offense against the Jets. I just don't know what... I don't think the Bears are very good. I just don't...
Well, we can try to avoid it. Let's keep it in the mix.
It's a shitty team playing a mediocre team to me right now.
Yeah, and we're getting points with
Carolina
the mediocre
being a shitty team.
Yeah, and we're getting points with the mediocre team. That, for me, looks pretty good on this board today. So keep it in the mix. We'll come back. Have it floating around in the back of your head. All right, the Cleveland-Tennessee game is off. On Bet 365.
Yeah, the quarterback. Tennessee, they don't know who's playing quarterback.
Okay. I was wondering if there was some injury in that game, like did Hoyer pull his groin and the hotel room or something.
No, it's got to be lock or off. But anybody,
I saw
Cleveland would be
favored by about 2 to 3 at like other sites, but we don't bet there, and we can't bet this game anyway. So I didn't really spend a lot of time on the research on that.
no,
I like Cleveland
anybody,
in this. I do recall thinking this line is way too low for Cleveland. Maybe your relentless Tennessee bashing is infecting me, but you did not say a positive thing at any level about them when we talked about the Tennessee game yesterday, and I'm taking your word.
No, there's nothing to be positive. Well, Bishop Sankey can be positive about him and Delaney Walker, but that's about it. And yeah, if this, put me down for Cleveland. We'll just put that one in as a pick 'em.
Okay.
On our sheet. Unless a line comes up, and I'd still take Cleveland.
Yeah, if when Doug sends his screenshots to us, if he's got a line, Doug, pick on the line, and we will adjust the line, and we'll get our picks in against whatever line you choose to use, if you find one.
And as always, my disclaimer, I'm picking Cleveland, but I'm still hoping Tennessee wins. I'd like to have some reason for hope.
Well, that's a given. We went season. 1 of 3. I lost both my fantasy leagues, but I was still happy because the Chargers got a solid victory, a taking care of business victory against the Jacksonville team. We're still fans first and foremost here.
Yeah, but I'm in a picks contest where I don't want to be embarrassed on the internet, so I have to bet with my head here.
Oh, yeah.
Go Cleveland.
Okay, next game up, we have Houston +6 at Dallas.
This is the game I really, really like.
You're going to have to convince me.
What? Houston has beat no one.
Yep.
Dallas is better than anybody thought. At home against a team that has Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. The Cowboys lead the league in rushing. They're spreading the ball around. They have a secondary receiver now. They still have one of the better tight ends in football. Defense is way better than anybody thought. Pitched a shutout against the Saints at home in the first half.
You convinced me. Plus, Romo has moved around great in that Saints game, and that had been something that worried me.
No, but they've taken the pressure off him by focusing more on the run. They have one of the best running backs in football. His only weakness is fumbling, but he hasn't done that the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy. And that O-line are fucking maulers. That's a really good O-line.
Like if
there's an O-line that can neutralize J.J. Watt, it's probably the Cowboys O-line. I think they've got the best offensive line in football.
Like generally the Cowboys get as much betting action as any team on the board. And for them to be only 6, I can't understand Ryan Fitzpatrick is only a 6-point underdog. When he's good for a couple of picks a game.
No,
and
I'm with you.
Buffalo with an experienced, decent quarterback beats Houston last week. So,
well, in particular, the one decision on the Watt 80-yard pick 6, just a brutal decision by Manuel and a fucking lazy ball. I'm bring it up again. No, that's solid. I kind of like this game too. I just wanted to make you lay it all out there, and I think you did a great job of that.
The last point, Houston can't run the ball either. So you're going to take Ryan Fitzpatrick on the road? We did that and...
Oh, no, I'm not going to. As I said, I like this game too. I just thought just lay it out.
Good enough. Okay.
So it's clear we are both Dallas on that. We're not laying bets till the end of the pod, but We learned that lesson in week 1. Okay, next game up. Pittsburgh minus 6.5 at Jacksonville.
Oh, it's so inviting.
Oh, isn't it?
This one. But how do you trust the Steelers now?
They play to the level of their competition. Football Outsiders had a really good article about teams that are favored by X amount, and they are like 30% against the spread against weak-ass opposition.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with this game.
I don't feel comfortable. Let's keep it in the mix because I hear you when it's just so inviting. And what did we say about Jacksonville? I mean, they're much livelier with Bortles. I will say that. I mean, having watched the Chargers game, he's fairly impressive, but he still looks like a fucking rookie.
Does Pittsburgh deserve 6.5 points on the road after losing to Tampa outright at home? The lines make very little sense when you look at what teams have done. I don't even know where they're coming up with these lines. Like, I got the San Diego line, I got the Indy line, but this
from
line,
last week.
Yeah, I don't get the respect the Steelers are getting on the road.
No, actually, one other thing in Football Outsiders, just in the article, they had a great screen capture from a TV where whichever network was broadcasting it, I assume it was CBS, with like 3 minutes left and Pittsburgh up 24-20. They had already given the victory to Pittsburgh and flashed a graphic showing that 3-1 teams make the playoffs 65 or 85% of the time or something.
Yeah, not this year.
Yeah, well, you know what I say. It ain't
that
over till it's over.
For our Steeler bet.
Yeah. So I hear you. I'm going to put a small arrow there. I kind of want to avoid it, but I feel like we should still be picking on Jacksonville a little bit until Bortles, gets his feet, because he's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, he probably will be good, but I know Jacksonville's a couple of years away, but the Steelers are getting 6.5 on the same reason the Patriots were favored on Monday night. Just because of the name.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to figure 2 points there. But, I mean, preseason odds, I think they were like 9-point favorites over Jacksonville. So there has been some correction based on their spotty performance, but
if they'd have beat Tampa last week, this would be 8 or 9.
Antonio Brown's great. The Chargers couldn't run against Jacksonville, but that was the Chargers' problem, not Jacksonville, who has given up like 180 to every running back. I think Le'Veon Bell just goes apeshit in this game. And it's under a touchdown. I still don't hate it. I hear all your arguments. I think they're valid. But it's under a touchdown.
Okay, well, it's in the mix, but
okay,
I would take this if it comes down to a fight to the death. I would take this game over.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Okay, fair enough. Next game up, the Rams +7 at Philly.
Yeah, I don't want to bet this game.
I don't really want to bet it either, but I really like the Rams in those points against the hobos and other homeless people that Philly is putting on their O-line.
Offensive line.
Yeah, and a still pretty good Rams front seven. Can the Rams score 7? That remains to be seen. Which is why I don't want to bet it.
The other thing.
I like this game quite a bit. I feel very strongly for the Rams and the points, but not strongly enough to try to make you bet it. If you'd liked it as much at first glance, but this is 2 shitty teams, I'm starting to think. Philly does scare the hell out of me.
They're
but
not
without
shitty.
a run game. Like, that run game
I
last
know,
year took so much pressure off Foles. Now that they cannot run the ball, period, Foles under pressure looks like every other quarterback, you know?
No, but they have to get back to Sproles out of the backfield, little swing passes. Like that, when they were at their most successful, he was touching the ball.
Rush too. You were correct.
The passing game, yes. Take the linebackers fucking out of the mix. Why not put them both on the field at the same fucking time to open up some running lanes? Why nobody runs hard? How many teams run with a fucking fullback anymore for a blocking back? How many? Put them both out. Make those fucking linebackers have to worry about Sproles too.
Yeah, cross them in the backfield and figure out who's going to get the screen. I like that idea, Boyd.
Fuck. You have
email Chip.
No, they play it so much by the fucking book. Get creative.
Well, and isn't that what he's supposed to be?
Yeah, but it's like it's the same thing we talk about every year. It's just ego and fucking everything. I have to prove that this works. Same what I talked about with the Titans. Okay, I coach a 3-4, so I'm bringing it in on defense. And it stinks. They don't have the talent to play a 3-4. They hadn't drafted for the last 5 years for a 3-4, so everybody they drafted for a 4-3, and then you try and change it. The Eagles need to get back to screen passes. You can run it with McCoy. They were fucking brilliant at it before.
Yeah, if you can stretch the edges
of the offensive lines
and pull the 7 out of the box, and while occasionally an O-lineman should make a block, that would be really helpful to Philly's cause.
And, okay, they'd put up 30 points every game except against San Francisco. I'll give them a pass on that game for struggling against what has been statistically good defense for the past several years.
Yeah, but the Rams actually have a front 7 that's relatively comparable.
Yeah, but Dallas put up 34 after being down 21-0.
Yeah.
If you have a solid defense, you shouldn't lose that game.
But I think right now, as you pointed out, Dallas is better than Philly. Playing right now. Philly still scares me. I don't want to bet this game, but I'm really, really comfortable taking the Rams in 7.
I'm taking the Eagles. They'll bounce back this week.
You just need them to for fantasy.
No, that's not. No, I like their offense.
I know, and that's why I was laughing. I
like the philosophy they have.
Comment.
The first 3 weeks they used Sproles properly. Well, even week 3 they didn't really, but the first couple of weeks they were using them how there was articles out there that, this is what Sean Payton forgot to do with Darren Sproles the last couple of years. And then for whatever reason, Philly goes away from it. When you're not running the ball, the screen pass or the short pass can be effective as your running game. New England's proven that for years. New Orleans too. So I think Philly gets back to that. I think the Rams on the road are a different animal. 34 points against Dallas.
We'll have to see about that.
40 against the Vikings. It's we might be overstating their defensive prowess at this point.
No, I'm saying their secondary is brutal. So I mean, this could be a good fantasy week for you. But I still like the Rams and the points. All right, next game up. Biggest spread of the day. Tampa Bay +10 at New Orleans. I don't really want a piece of this. How do you feel?
No. But let's look at the Saints. They were 10-point favorites against the Vikings and covered by a point. 20 to put up a whopping 20 at home.
Though they did kneel it out in the red zone, so it wasn't quite that tight, but point taken.
No, but the Saints that we used to see in a game like this, you'd be expecting them to put up 45. Will they get to 28?
Yeah, I think they
I
I
don't
think
know
they
what's-
get into the low 30s, but I'm with you. They just don't scare. Drew Brees is hearing phantom rushers now.
And what has changed? I thought Sean Payton was a genius. He's the offensive fucking wonder boy for the last fucking 5 years.
It's the O-line. I mean, that's
Some,
what so
something
much of this
missing.
is getting down to me. Breeze is getting rushed, so he looks panicked. He doesn't have that calm stand in the pocket. Like he does not believe he's gonna get 2.5 or 3 seconds back there. And sometimes, even when they're blocking the rush effectively, he is just throwing the ball out way too fast. He's hearing footsteps. And, when a quarterback's confidence in his protection helps or fades, it doesn't help with anything. They don't have, I honestly thought Pierre Thomas, based on the second half of last season, was going to take the Sproles role. He's been wildly ineffective in that. That used to be the dump off. You could send it to a shifty back and get at least 7 or 8. He's barely even looking in his direction now.
It's all about the numbers. These quarterbacks get older. You wonder if they're thinking more about legacy than winning football games now. Because he's already got a Super Bowl.
Yep, that could be it. Now, that said, New Orleans at home is a wildly different team than New Orleans on the road. And, the statistics bear this out to an absurd degree. You can look at any advanced metrics.
I really want to take Tampa Bay here. I just can't.
On this one, I don't have the balls. I'm taking New Orleans.
Me too. Just the Vikings game proves it. They're 10-point favorites and covered.
Yeah.
At home.
And it didn't play well. And Tampa Bay shook the shame off their back with that Pittsburgh victory.
But Pittsburgh's shitty.
But exactly.
Too, I think.
But nevertheless, after the Atlanta beatdown, I think Atlanta's offense might be better than New Orleans at this stage. But New Orleans is still good, and Atlanta moved at will. At fucking will. I can't believe that Gerald McCoy makes that much of a difference.
How many 1-3 teams are favored by 10 at home, though? To a team that won the week before on the road.
Wow.
The NFL is fucked right now. I will keep hammering this point home. This is the toughest year to bet football that I've seen. Because nothing makes sense.
Except that Glennon is
2, 1, and
obviously
3
a step
teams.
up from McCown. But Lovie Smith plays a Tampa cover 2 all plays. That is what New Orleans feeds upon.
Yeah, but how did
a zone with safety help when you don't have particularly good defensive players? But
New Orleans defenses had the Rob Ryan 1-year miraculous turnaround like he had in Oakland, and now they're back to being shit.
Oh, yeah, and they are, and it's total regression, but I just don't see Tampa Bay having a lot of weapons. I'm reluctant to take New Orleans. I'd love to take the Bucs here, but I'm going with New Orleans, and if I laid a bet on this, you might as well just shoot me in the head because I'd be betting the mortgage.
Come back to me on this one at the end. I'm not sure.
On your pick? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just can't. I'm so... Fuck. I just argued my own self into indecision with the 1-3 point about New Orleans.
Okay, next game up. Arizona, +7 at Denver. Here's another example of your point. an undefeated team are 7-point dogs.
I love this game. Absolutely fucking love it. This game's going to be like the Seattle game. They're very similar. Very similar game. Arizona has one of the best defenses in football. Denver struggled against decent defenses. I think Seattle blew that game like to win it in regulation. They won it, but Denver did nothing really until they had a turnover that gave them a short field and then the last 50 seconds of that game. I want to take Arizona here. How is Denver a 7-point favorite? They beat Indy by 7 and Kansas City by 7. And you're going against a 3-0 team. This is like a gift.
I think you might be overstating that a bit, but I didn't hate Zona in this game.
What have they shown? What have they shown to be 7-point favorites over a 3-0 team?
They've shown a decent pass rush.
Yeah, they gave up 24 at home to Indy, all in the second half. Kansas City had the ball at the goal line in the final minute to tie that game. If you're a dominant team supposed to be getting 7 at home, the game shouldn't be that close against a 3-0 team. Denver should be undefeated and beating everybody by 14 like they were last year. Then it would make sense.
Yeah. No, I like this game, but I was worried that my hatred of Denver was coloring my opinion. So.
It's not.
Okay.
When does defense
I'm glad
get
to hear
any
it.
respect?
I honestly wanted you to support my opinion in this.
When does defense get any respect in this league?
Well, yeah, if Seattle winning the Super Bowl with defense doesn't get defense any respect. Yeah, and this would be no more than a 3.5-point game if it wasn't Denver and Peyton.
Yeah. 3. They're a 2-1 team laying 7 points to an undefeated team that has a defense equal to or better than their own. Denver's defense is overrated to what I thought they were going to be.
Though not
I
terrible.
Thought they were going to be
not terrible.
But I thought they were going to be a dominant defense.
And I do think Arizona can grind the clock. I do think they can do that. Yeah, no, I like this game. I like this game a lot. I'm putting us both down for Zona.
Yeah.
You know, Mile High Madness worries me a bit. I would say something about the quarterbacks, but Arizona doesn't require a great quarterback in their current configuration.
No, they're winning with defense and field position.
And Drew Stanton hasn't played poorly, as far as I know. I mean, I'm probably going to look up some metrics on him, but he hasn't played terribly. He beat the Giants on the road, and that Giants team is looking marginally better than we thought.
Yeah, they won that game with defense, though, and special teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm betting this game based on Arizona's defense.
7 seems like a lot to lay. I like the dog in this game. Okay, well, that's going to be one. Next game up. KC plus 6.5 at the Niners. I think this is going to be an interesting game, but I want to stay away from it.
Yeah, I do too. Last year, been a slam dunk Niners. Kansas City on a short week, flying to the coast.
Well,
I don't know if
middle
Jamal
of the country,
Charles is healthy.
So Casey's used to travel.
But Jamal Charles is hobbled. The Alex
sure
Smith
didn't look
revenge
hobbled
factor.
on Monday night, man. His cuts were amazing. I don't think you can call him hobbled at all. He looked 100% to me. I guess Dr. Andy Reid was correct on his assessment of a mild high ankle sprain.
Well, I was listening to the game on the radio on the way home from work, and I don't know if they brought this up on the TV broadcast. Every time he came off the field, he had the trainer on his hip. That's how worried they were about his ankle. How are you doing? How's it feel? That's
Look, well, and
against
Niles,
a physical team.
but Niles Davis, it didn't look like a typical injury replacement. He looked fucking good as well. I mean, even New England is nothing. I think we sort of agree on that. New England is nothing, but they were just, it's the O-line. They were putting holes that we could have run for a yard or two before dying on the field. But I still don't believe in KC. And the Niners showed, as we talked about in our podcast last night, that they are still going to punch you in the mouth. They still like to hurt you.
Well, and they got back to what they do. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Again, we got a fluke cover last week, which, again, we'll take. But they gave up 3 points to that high-powered Eagles team.
Yeah.
Really, 3 points. I mean, all the rest was special teams and, pick sixes and all sorts of crazy-ass shit. This Niners team right now is, 6.5 points scares me a lot.
Well, it's Kaepernick.
Yes, exactly.
That's my one worry. And I'm the biggest Kaepernick supporter you'll hear.
Exactly. I mean, we've discussed it a long time, and the fact is I said it was a show me year. This would be a great example of a show me game.
But the Niners, to be successful, run the ball and pass when you have to, or as play action pass. And they got away from that. Gore even said it after they lost to Arizona. He wasn't happy with how they were using them. They pound the ball against Philly, control the clock, and Philly had 127 yards offense with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's their form. That's the Niners formula. Even when Alex Smith was there, that was their formula. If they do that against Kansas City, they will cover. But I don't have faith that they will do that. It's still the same thing. It's these coaches trying to appease quarterbacks, keep them happy, stroke their ego. They implement shit that they know they shouldn't do. So I'm still taking San Francisco, but it's an uneasy San Francisco.
You're coming back on your whole New Orleans game. Right now, I am taking KC, but we'll come back on that.
Okay.
I don't know the Niners have shown me enough to be a 6.5 point, but I want to come back on that. Next game up, we are not allowed to bet. The Jets plus 6.5 at San Diego. I gotta like my boys in this.
Yes. As we said yesterday, or as I said yesterday, and I think you begrudgingly agreed, trying not to jinx your team, they're one of the top two teams in football right now. To me. Just
Rivers
how they played
is playing
Arizona.
out of his head, and
no, but your defense is good.
The defense is average. Average to above average, which based on recent years, I will take in a heartbeat. Yeah, the Jets' score was close last week against Detroit, but I think that had more to do with Detroit. Detroit's fourth quarter was very confusing. It was like they wanted to let the Jets back in the game. So I think we can exploit this secondary, and I think we can exploit it with those 1.5 to 2 second passes that Rivers has been fucking nailing all year. We're going to give up 3 sacks. We're not going to run the ball at all, but I still think if Rivers plays the way he's playing right now, we can tear apart that secondary.
Yeah, no, I love the Chargers in this game. This will be the game you see Michael Vick come in the second half.
Oh, and that scares me too. And You know, I hate that the Chargers are getting these kitchen sink games with panic teams. You know what I mean, right? Like they're gonna try anything, and Ryan's an inventive, clever, and creative coach, particularly on defense. God only knows what I'm gonna be looking at. We should handle this. We took care of business last week. On the other hand, the Jets have always had a fucking number. Sorry.
No, but the Chargers have a very realistic chance at winning that division this year. And at the start of the year, before the first game, I would have thought that was nuts with what Denver had done.
Yeah.
But San Diego has proven they can hang with the top teams in the league, and the Jets aren't one of them. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, and I kind of like the fact that the Jets have been playing reasonably well. No one in San Diego's looking through this game. You know, in the first half against Jacksonville, it might have been a bit of a wake-up call for the Bolts that we can't take anyone lightly. Injuries are starting to mount, and I pray to God my center plays better, but okay. Next up, we have Cincy, -1, going to New England.
How was this line 1 after that display?
It's because, well, two things. I mean, weirdly enough, that fits the stat I cited last week about the 3-touchdown loss. 2, New England almost never loses 2 in a row. That's why the line is there.
Cincy has, I know I've talked up the Chargers the last couple of podcasts, but Cincy's defense might be the best in the AFC right now.
Yeah. I love this game. This was I could not believe this was 1. And I might be fucked in the head, and Vegas usually gets this shit right. But what has New England's offense shown us this year? They've shown us one of the worst offenses in the league. Like, they're 28th on adjusted DVOA or so this week. And Brady looks panicked. He has no faith. Kind of what I was saying about Breeze earlier.
He's going to get pummeled in this game. Pummeled.
Yeah, or he's just going to try to get the ball out in under a second like he did against KC. Cincy's D is better than KC's D.
Yes. And they have a running game comparable to Kansas City's.
Yes, very comparable. Giovanni Bernard is a lot like Jamal Charles.
Who's stopping A.J. Green in that secondary?
They couldn't stop Bo in KC. And let's face it, A.J. Green is a fuck of a lot better than Bo.
Yeah, just a smidge. Or a nudge better. Fuck. This, I want to bet this right now before it goes to 2. No, when I looked at this, I went, okay, I know we're betting this game. I didn't even have to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. I you know, like your question, how is this line only 1? Like, the thing about those blowout wins that in the 52-8 stat are now, I guess, probably 53-9. But
yeah, because
the fact is New England has shown nothing, and they've shown nothing at the most important point, offensive line.
Yeah.
Brady is just, like, it's brutalized. Not even if they had a receiver, that receiver could not get more than 15 yards down the field before Brady was throwing it, because I think he's decided after taking all those cheap contracts and seeing, way to build a team around me.
Well, we kind of think Baltimore is better.
You're going to piss. Okay, so Logan Mankins won't take a pay cut, so you just cut him. Brady, who is making, I believe, $7.5 million this year, which is absurdly low. Flacco's making 22, I believe, for comparison. He's got to be looking, why did I take less money exactly?
Well, no, but he's done that his whole career, and they've done the same thing in New England.
Yeah, but usually it doesn't actually affect his health. They usually spent money on the O-line, and they had, like, that O-line coach who retired could make, any group of 5 large men protect pretty well. So, yeah, I have no fucking idea what's going on this. It's not like New England hasn't lost two in a row before. I know they don't generally, but this is the worst New England team. Like, they've started slow before and gotten to 2-2, but you knew that was a little off,
Yeah,
this
but they haven't. Okay.
This one, I think they should be a 1-3 team.
They've beaten Oakland. Who else did they? Oakland and Minnesota.
Yeah,
and the Minnesota game,
was
did nothing on offense,
and they were shell shocked. Adrian Peterson got benched on the Friday with the child abuse scandal. So they had no practice with Asiata. They had no contingency. That was a shell-shocked, horrified, and stunned team. There could not be a worse case. Well, I'm certain there could be, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They faced a shell-shocked Minnesota team, confused, frightened, and without any kind of preparation for the situation they were in. And they could barely beat Oakland. I fucking love Cincy.
Yeah.
Fuck all the Belichick. We never lose 2 in a row. New England is pretty fucking terrible, and I don't see it turning around like it has in other years.
No.
I think we might have to try to feast on these history lines that favor New England so much.
Yeah.
This could be something going forward. Okay. Next up, the Monday Nighter. Seattle off the bye. -7 at Washington. Another one I can't figure out the line.
It's because Seattle struggles on the road.
Yeah.
They seem to play down. You were talking about Pittsburgh playing down to the level of competition. Seattle does that on the road. At home, this would be 14. 13-14 if they were playing in Seattle. That's the swing in their home to road games.
Well,
because they were favored by 5.5 against Denver at home. So Washington, after getting blown out by the Giants at home, Seattle's infinitely better than than New York on both sides of the ball. Cousins looked like everything you told me he was.
Yeah.
Did I listen?
Buddy.
No.
I'll take the kudos on that.
Did I listen? No. But against this defense, if Seattle did anything on the road, this would be so much easier to take.
Well, I want to stay away from this.
Me too. I'm taking Seattle in our
absolutely.
Picks.
Absolutely
Challenge,
taking Seattle, but I don't want to bet on it. It's part of that 3 touchdown. Washington's had rest. Seattle's had rest. I'm taking Seattle for sure, but I don't want to bet it.
No, I think there's better money on the board than that in games we already talked about.
Yep.
Now, saying that, Seattle will probably win by 24. And we'll lose one of the other games we bet on, and we'll kick ourselves in the ass. But I just don't like Seattle on the road.
No,
it's the same
no,
thing.
You're right about Seattle.
It's my same theory with
road.
New Orleans.
Yeah, and
I won't bet New Orleans on the road.
This one screams backdoor cover to me for some reason. I don't know why. I have no logical argument to support that. I just don't like it. Okay.
No, just Seattle's history on the road. They play down to teams. So, like last year, Houston was finished 2-14, and they barely won that game.
Well, and we bet
that was the start of Shaw
Indy
fucking
in the early luck days, or I guess it wasn't that early, but we bet Indy to beat Seattle when Seattle went to Indy. And we cashed that one. So you're right. I think we have valid reasons for staying away. But, okay. That is the slate of games. I think we are both very happy with Cincy -1.
Yes.
Book it,
so
Donald.
Cincy -1 at New England. $10 bet pays $19.09. Right. That is booked.
Okay. We like Dallas -6
over Houston. That $10 bet is going to pay $19.09. So we have Dallas -6 at home against Houston. $10 pays $19.09. Booked.
And I won't even bring up the Chicago-Carolina, but we should. Clearly, you're taking Carolina. I'm taking Chicago in that.
Yeah.
We're not going to bet it.
No.
So left we have, well, I guess it's looking like Zona +7.
Yeah.
Because you said if I held a gun to your head that we'd take Pittsburgh, but you know what? I'd rather take points with Zona at Denver.
Well, their defense is the one thing that travels. Offense doesn't always. But that Zona they went into Seattle last year and won. So getting 7 in Denver, I don't think will phase them going to Denver to play that team.
They're both off a bye, so no advantage there.
And nobody talks. Well, Patrick Peterson gets talked about, but he might be the best corner in football right now. He might be better than Sherman.
And
so,
if he's not hurt, I know he left the last game, but Rogers Cromartie is not the worst number 2 cornerback in the league. He'd be number 1 on a lot of fucking teams.
I'd take him. But, okay, so we have Arizona +7 in Denver. $10 bet pays $19.09.
All right.
And that is our 3 bets.
And, okay, first of all, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. I'm going Pitt still.
Me too.
Okay. And what's your decision on Tampa +10 at New Orleans? You wanted me to come back.
Oh, fuck. I want to have balls and take Tampa.
But you have no balls. We all know that.
I know. You're just trying to get me off it.
Listeners will recognize that you yourself are described as a fucking
I have tiny
waffler.
Raisins.
Yeah.
I have raisins. Fuck, I want to take Tampa so bad. But I can't. I just can't. Fuck. Just how bad they were. New Orleans offense looks like, oh, fuck. Now I'm taking Tampa. Fuck it. Give me Tampa in the 10.
It is moved. And I couldn't decide on KC San Fran. I'm taking KC.
Okay.
And 6.5 points. Okay, to summarize, our actual bets are Dallas -6 pays $19.09. Zona +7 pays $19.09. And Cincy -1 pays $19.09.
All right. Anything else you had to add?
No, but listeners, be prepared. I'm buying some new software. We're going to go a different configuration next week. Hopefully it's a big technological improvement.
Yeah, and maybe a little more fun and frivolity.
Yeah.
involved in our podcast.
It'll be wackier, Boyd.
Yeah. All right. If you want to check out our podcast, you can listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher.com for your Android devices. On our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines for any updates to the website or when a podcast is available. Our personal Twitter accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd. Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to send us an email, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. And that was our picks show for week 5.
And thank fuck Shaw didn't go down this week for any podcast.
Degenerate fucking gambler.